Hey guys, welcome back. In this video here, I'm going to show you how I made the must. And the must is, if you don't know, that is when you put the fruit juice and the sugar and ingredients in the bucket and let it sit for a week. 70% of your alcohol is made the first week during the process. And it's going to be fermenting off real rapidly. And once you add the yeast in there, and most of the yeast will die off within the first week as well. So anyway, that was the sugar I just added in, and I did that before I did the press um, that you saw last week. I guess you watched it last week or whenever you watched it on my first video. If you hadn't seen the first one, back up and watch it first. So I put the sugar in hot water, mixed it up, and then I added the concentrate from the press in there. And now I'm adding the ingredients. The first ingredient I'm going to add is the acid blend. The acid blend basically adds a little bit of acidity to the mixture. And then the next one is the pectic enzyme. Now it's going to do two things. It's going to increase my yield from my fruit and also help the settlement of all the pectic from the fruit itself settle down in the bottom of the carboy or bucket, whatever you use. So it's going to help it clear faster. Um, this is blueberry wine. So I use yeast nutrient and yeast energizer in the wine. The yeast energizer and nutrient both work similar. Both of them help the yeast get started and operate, but blueberry wine, for whatever reason, has extremely hard time getting started. So I've had it stick many times. So anyway, I started adding yeast energizer and nutrient to the must, and I hadn't had it stick yet. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm adding all these ingredients, and again, that's acid blend, pectic enzyme, yeast energizer, and yeast nutrient is what I've got in this must here. Um, and then the last thing I add is the Camden tablets. Now the Camden tablets, they do well. It's going to sterilize everything to begin with, and also it's going to kill any yeast, natural yeast, because there's yeast on everything. It kills any natural yeast that you have. And what you do is whenever I add those in, I'm going to put those in the buckets, stir it around, and I'm going to give it 24 hours. Now, these Camden tablets have to gas off for 24 hours because you don't want it killing your new yeast that you're putting in right now. Well, 24 hours later. So I'm going to put them in the bucket, and then we're going to give it 24 hours. And then my next screen you're going to see is me actually uh, doing the yeast. I'll take it out of the package and I'll hydrate it, and then I will pitch the yeast, and then it will start to work. So anyway, I'm going to go back to the video and let you watch the rest. One, two, three, 4, 5. All right, that's yeast nutrient. Next thing is the Camden tablets. You got 2 big spoons. You put 1 per gallon. And crush it. And I take 2 spoons, put them together, and just rock it back and forth, crush them up real good. Alright, and that one there is made. So that right there is my must. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit at least overnight. And overnight what's going to happen is Camden tablets, they're going to dissipate and dissolve, air out. And then tomorrow we can put our yeast in there and then let it work. Let it work for 5 to 7 days.
and then 70% of the alcohol and all that's made that first week. Then the yeast will start to die. As the alcohol is produced, it will start to kill the yeast, and then we want to transfer it from the bucket to a carboy. And that way we don't have yeast sitting in the bottom of the carboy the whole time. And then if there's a lot of yeast building up in the carboy, we'll rack it, we'll transfer it again. So anyway, that's the must. I'll do this one and we'll let it sit, and I'll bring y'all back whenever it's time to put the yeast in. All right, now we got the must made. It's been 24 hours. The Camden tablets had time to gas off, so now it's time to add the yeast. And all we're doing is hydrating it. Just go by the package, and normally you put it in about 105-degree water and let it sit for 5 minutes. Depends on what your package says. So I'll show you how we're going to pitch the yeast. All we do is pour it in. You don't need to stir it or anything. And then tomorrow it should be starting to expand and make new yeast and start to ferment. Alright guys, this is actually 48 hours later after we pitched the yeast. I want to show you how we're coming, and it's a little slow to get started. It's because it's got cold. I actually got it inside my house. Normally I put it in the garage where it's a little warmer, 80 to 85 degrees, but we had a cold front coming through. So if your must is cold, your yeast won't work. So try to keep it warm. The warmer it is, the faster it's going to work off. So let me show you what we got. All right, and what I do every day, come in here and I poke my fruit, move it around, stir it, get it moving. And you'll notice your fruit bag will actually start to dissipate. It'll start getting smaller and smaller. And that's all you got to do. Do that every day, and about a week later, we're going to come back. I'll show you the results and show you what the fruit looks like. All right, guys, the day has come. It's been probably about 8 days now since we first started the first fermentation in the bucket. So now it's ready. Now all we got to do is take the fruit out. I'll mash them and we'll transfer it into the carboy. One thing important before you even get started, go ahead and sterilize all your stuff. So I got my strainer sterilized, my carboy sterilized, everything's ready before you even start. So I'll show you what the process is of getting all this done. Here's my bucket with my fruit in it. So first thing I'm gonna do, and you might not see that real well, I'm gonna pull this out. I'm just gonna mash them and squeeze them, and then we'll start transferring the liquid. And you can see that was 15 pounds of fruit. There's almost nothing left. So all I'm gonna do is once I finish squeezing them out, there won't be nothing left. And you can really smell it. I mean, it smells delicious right now. It's really, really good sweet wine. And I tried on this one, I actually used 2 different types of yeast. One I used a dry wine, one that's recommended for dry wine yeast in one bucket, and I used a different yeast in a different bucket. And I'm gonna see if I can tell the difference between the two after fermentation. And you can see how all those berries really turn into nothing. And you could actually, if you wanted to, you could leave it in this bucket and let it ferment for a month in this bucket. But the problem is, all the yeast, whenever it rapidly grows and starts to die, it will die. It's kind of like a bee. It works for so long and then it dies off. And it sits in the bottom of the bucket and it leaves a taste. So you don't want that. And I have seen people not use the bag and just put the fruit right in the bucket, but it really is more to clean up later. I would rather just clean the bag up. Alright, that's about all we're going to get out of it. Alright, let me show you the bag. 15 pounds, it's probably maybe half pound now. So there's not much there. It's all turned into wine. And I might even get it down to more. Yeah, I'm still getting some out. Yep. Make sure you don't wear a good shirt too. Alright, that's all I'm gonna get out of that. Alright, that's all the fruit we got left. So I'm gonna throw it in that pan. And then later, I will just take it outside, throw it out, clean my bag out, and I'll reuse it. The bags are good for, I couldn't tell you how much wine I made out of the bag. Alright, so now, I'll put my siphon in, run it over here, and let me get you so you can see this. So, we got a bucket full of stuff, I got my siphon pump in here, and I got my carboys down here, lower, with a just a cheesecloth and a funnel ready. So now we'll just pump this out, and the cheesecloth will start to get clogged. You'll have to move it around, and it's not a real fast process of getting it all through there. You just want to get it through and get it clean. The cleaner you do it the first time, the better it will be the next. Now, actually, it's a lot cleaner than what I thought. It will start to clog right at the tip, and then you'll have to move your cheesecloth around. But this right here is very little sediment. So, and different things. I mean, I make some out of pinto palm fruit, and it's real porous. So you get all kinds of trash in there. So anyway, that's the this is the next step, and once I finish this, I'll come back and I'll show you how we cap it and put the airlock on it, and then that's it. All right, we got that full, and let me show you what we got here. Here's my strainer, and if you look at it, you can see right here was the last part, and this is where I started over here. So I just keep moving the cloth over as it plugs up. But anyway, I went ahead and filled both of them up. Next thing you know, we got to put our airlock on. If you don't put the airlock on, you're going to have vinegar, not wine. So take your airlock, and it's got two lines on it, here and here. Fill it full of a little water, and shake it. If you get too much, shake a little out, and get it right on those lines right there. And then we'll put it in our bung. Now come over here, move that, I'll throw it in our bucket, and then that one there is ready to go. In a few hours it'll start boiling off, and we'll give it some more time. And that's it for the transfer. So I'll see you guys in about a month.